Hey guys, it's Ryan here with HobbiesofaMan once again, and today we're doing another comic book review. Today we're looking at Dawnrunner issue number 5. This is the final issue in the series, and there are some changes to the team here. So Ram V and Evan Cagle are still the writer and artist. Francesco Segala turned in the colors for this issue, and Aditya Bidikar continues to be the letterer. So there was just the change there with the colorist. First impressions of this final issue is that I'm a bit disappointed. It's not necessarily that the story is bad. I think the story is quite good, but some of the issues that I had with the series from the very beginning still show up here at the end, and in a way that I find very disappointing. It doesn't end up living up to the expectations in some ways, because even though the story does have a good central plot line, it has good heart and good characters, and it does have a satisfying ending to them, the artwork or the choices of scenes depicted feels a bit odd. Evan Cagle draws very well, and he does so very nicely, but the action sequences are a bit unclear, muddy. It's not really sure what is what, right? What part of the robot is where at what time, and how that functions in terms of its like weird, very spindly biology, right? Or physical structure, I guess is the right word. That's not necessarily the issue. The issue is actually that there's this splash page at the end of this story that is disappointing, because it's basically an empty page. There's very little value added to the reading experience by this page, even though I understand the symbolism and the point of it. I don't find it satisfying, because the robots that are the central reason why people are reading this don't appear in it at all. And I'll show you the picture of it right now. This is supposed to be an epic reveal, right? This is the page flip to show you in between the action scenes, the motion of the robot, and it doesn't do that. And so you see the robot take off, then you see nothing in a 2-page spread that is a huge waste of space, and then you see it attack the Tetsa thing, right? And so you lose momentum. It takes you out. And I understand that the point of that image, right, is to show that dawn breaks, right? That light comes out and that, the darkness is ending, right? Because that is thematically what's happening in the story. But they couldn't add the robot running across that scene. They couldn't do something to show you that, the robot is important at all. And that's disappointing, right? So let's actually look at what happened here, and then I'll bring up that issue that I had at the moment that it comes up, right? So it starts with no one really understanding what's going on, right? It's about Anita being inside the IK, the Iron King, which is what they call the mechas in this series, and they're hoping that this is the case. They don't know if it's true or not, but they assume that it is, because the robot is still moving, right? There's this awesome title page that has Dawnrunner across the bottom in a really cool font, and it has this really awesome image of the robot that I liked a lot, and it just made that disappointment later on much worse, right? Then we get to see the fight continue. They launch into battle. The Tetsa stretches its arm really long, and when it does, it's when the IK can actually hurt it, right? Because as it stretches, the anatomy of it changes, and so it makes it easier to destroy it. And so they do this, and they finally learn how to hurt this massive special monster, right? Even though it gets angry and it could be worse, the data is useful, so they're happy about this. Other Iron Kings, other mechas show up and step in to help. And inside, the Iron King, inside Dawnrunner, Anita and Ichi are kind of one and the same. They show up as cells, and then they divide, and then they grow into bodies. And there's this kind of like vaguely romantic kind of entanglement between them, in the sense that at least that's kind of how it read to me. And it kind of makes sense, right? Because they are so intimately tied together that it makes sense to describe it that way. But it's kind of odd, and they're talking about, what have we become? Are we monsters? And Ichi kind of holds to the thing that he's been holding on to for a while, which is, no, we are just doing what we need to do in order to save what we can. And this helps Anita get through this kind of concept, which is good. Then we get a scene shift where Katarina, or Kat, Anita's friend, gears up. She starts wearing a IK suit, and then Dawnrunner charges a blade up of its body because it looks really weird because it is now organic, right? So it just shapes its body into a blade and then starts electrically charging it, which looks awesome. And then it prepares itself into a runner stance. It lifts off, right? It does its first kick. And this is the moment where I was pretty disappointed. You flip the page expecting an awesome scene of the robot running across a field. And what you get is the field, the sun rising above in the mountains far away, but you don't get to see the robot at all. And that's really disappointing. I don't like it. I think that this is a huge waste of this page. You made this awesome, beautiful spread, but it doesn't do anything for the story. It doesn't make me feel anything cool. It makes me feel disappointed and upset and unhappy with what I'm reading. And that's very bad. I didn't like this at all. If they collect this into a trade, I hope that they change that and add a figure, a silhouette of the robot running across the field. And I think that would make it much better, right? Or jumping across the field or whatever you want to call it. Because this emptiness is not satisfying. It's very, very disappointing, like I said. So, yeah, Dawnrunner cuts the Tetsa, manages to kill it a bit too quickly, in my opinion. It happens too fast. It seems like they ran out of issues or something. I'm not really sure what happened here. Like, maybe this needed to be a few more pages, like, longer. And they could have done that because this is the ending issue, right? Like, there could have been a little bit of a special kind of vibe here where they added a few more pages, and it seems like they didn't, and that makes everything seem much shorter and faster paced than it should be, right? So that's a bit disappointing as well. The Tetsa suddenly pay attention. As soon as Dawnrunner kills this massive one, all of the other ones suddenly kind of stand at attention like dogs or like meerkats or something like that, and they all turn towards the Dawnrunner. And it seems like this kind of turns them off because they stand at attention and then they no longer do anything. We transition over here to Andre, or Andro, I don't know how to say his name, who wants to stop Dawnrunner. He calls Morali, he calls Kat, he calls him and he says, hey, we need you to shut down the IK. We need to destroy Dawnrunner because we don't know what it's going to do now, right? No one listens to him. They know that Anita's there. She's protected by the others in this really cool scene of them kind of surrounding her in a nice panel, which is good. And then Anita and Ichi have a final moment together. They decide to do something. We don't know what it is, but then she flies off. Anita and Ichi and the Dawnrunner, they fly off to a pediatric hospital. And at this hospital, the IK reconstructs Anita and lays her down on the floor. She's naked. She's just sitting in rubble. And then the robot moves towards where Annie is. He picks her up. He pulls her into his heart. She just deconstitutes. She's absorbed into the robot. Something happens in there, and then she comes out healthy. And that's really, really satisfying. I thought that was good, but it's very annoying that, like, the mech aspect is so minimized in a way that I didn't like, right? So, yeah, she's healed. He pulls her out, and there's this really beautiful moment as, daughter and mother are both healed and better, and Ichi kind of does this ultimate final sacrifice to save those he can when he couldn't before. So I really appreciate that. I thought that was good. There seems to be some sort of possible setup for a second season of the series, right? Another 5 issues that kind of deal with the world after the Tetsas. Maybe there's something else that happens. Maybe the world goes to shit again, but now it's because humans have this awesome technology, or maybe there's a second step to the story now that the humans are able to defeat these monsters. I don't know what it is, but it seems like there is something more there, right? And then the story ends with Anita and Annie kind of just reminiscing about the situations they went through and knowing that, Ichi saved them both. And that's it. Overall, I'm not sure what I would give this series all told, right? I have to reread it again. But I am ultimately disappointed with the ending, even if it's marginally, right? Like, maybe it's not 100% disappointed, but I would say it's like 60-40, leaning towards disappointment with this issue specifically. And I don't think that's a good way to end a series, right? So, yeah, those are my thoughts on this issue. I love the cover, but I found some of the elements inside it to not be very good. So, yeah, those are my thoughts. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you thought. Thank you guys very much for watching, and see you guys later.